Well, my face is a big letter T!
Hey guys, I'm back with another video and it's again Star Wars related. But hey, I love Star Wars, and my last video was inspired by Star Wars Theory and their Stupendous Wave and their Star Wars fanfics. They also do what ifs in the Star Wars universe, and I like to think of my own what ifs from time to time. And now that I have my own channel, I thought, hey, why don't I do one? So, this one isn't that far-fetched given what happened in Return of the Jedi. If Han turned the other way while he was blind, or had his weapon a little lower, Boba wouldn't get his jetpack hit, and he wouldn't have died, like in the most embarrassing way I've ever seen. So sadly, I'm going to keep his embarrassing performance right before he showed up with his death, and I'm going to keep him falling over and getting disarmed in like 2 seconds. So, here's where our fanfic starts. We start with Boba shooting at Luke, and he's missing terribly again. Chewbacca tells Han that Boba is there, and Han turns to the right instead of the left. And there are 2 things that could happen. Han could A, hit Boba's legs, and he would fall, and then Chewie and Han would then kill Boba the same way, because Boba would be injured by being hit in the legs like that. Or it could hit his torso armor and change the whole story a lot. And this is the way we're going to take our story. Han would hit Boba, who would be a little staggered but completely fine. Boba would turn his attention away from Luke and aim at Han. With no one to stop him, Boba would shoot blind Han, killing him. Chewie and Luke would go berserk. Chewie would get up and get a good hit on Boba, sliding him across the speeder they were on. Luke would want to attack Boba, but he was too busy doing with all of Jabba's men at the time. Boba would shoot at Chewie, injuring him but not killing him, and trying to get away. Luke would be cutting through Jabba's men much faster than before, with much more ferocity, using a bit of the dark side because of his anger and Han's death. Leia would have killed Jabba by now, and Boba would most likely fly to the sail barge and see that Leia is out of her chains and that his employer is dead. Boba would see that he's not getting paid, and would escape by flying away on his jetpack or take one of the speeders and fly off. Chewbacca wouldn't be able to grab Lando all by himself because he used Han in the movies, and they barely got him out, so Lando, sadly, would be eaten by the Sarlacc. Luke and Leia would destroy the sail barge the same way they did, and they would leave it Chewie and the droids. Instead of feeling triumphant, they would feel great grief and sadness for the 2 friends they lost. Luke and the others would then split like they did. Yoda would sense anger and sadness in Luke, like when he arrives, and of course he would try to help him to stay on the right path. Luke would still feel bad about losing Han and Lando, but a talk with Ghost Obi-Wan and even Ghost Yoda, because he feels Luke would need the talking, would make him feel better, at least a little bit. Back with the rebels during the briefing, since Han and Lando are dead, there would have to be 2 new captains for both their missions. I feel that Nine Nub, that's this guy, would lead the attack in space, and Chewie would join him since they're going to use the Millennium Falcon, and after Han's death, Chewie would be a little more attached and doesn't want anyone using his friend's ship without him there. And for the mission on the moon of Endor, I think that Captain Rex would lead. He is a veteran from the Clone Wars, and he was already on the mission in the original, so he would fit perfectly there. I don't think Leia would join the land fight because everyone would be able to tell that she isn't in the best state to help efficiently, and would be more of a nuisance or get in the way for everyone else. So Luke would return, and Leia would be on the ship. Luke would take longer, but he still would want to go to find Vader, and he believes there is good in him still. That wouldn't change. This time, though, instead of going on Endor to be captured, he would go directly to the Death Star and turn himself into Vader. They would go to the Emperor, and everything there would play out somewhat the same for now. Back on Endor, though, the rebels would have some problems with the Empire's elite men and the Ewoks attacking both sides. Since Leia isn't there to make the Ewoks on the sides of the rebels would have to take on not only the Empire, not only the Ewoks, but also Boba Fett. Since Boba Fett isn't dead, he would be hired by the Emperor, since the Emperor wants to send his best men, and of course he'd get the best bounty hunter to protect his shields. Boba and the elites, and the Ewoks, on top of both of them, would make it impossible for the rebels to get to the shield generator and take it down. So, back on the Death Star, the Emperor would be taunting Luke like normal, and the events would happen the same on their end. While they are fighting, the rebel fleet would retreat after the first shot of the Death Star went off. And since Lando wasn't there to trust in Han, who also wasn't there, Luke and Vader would fight until after Palpatine is thrown down the reactor shaft. Now that the Death Star isn't exploding, Luke wouldn't be rushing for an escape and would try to find help for his father, since they are in his place of work. Luke would help his father walk, and Vader would be giving him directions to the closest medical bay or one of his own personal medical stations that are on the Death Star. Every trooper and officer they passed would be very confused, and, some would even try to shoot blast at Luke, but would immediately get choked to death by Vader. Luke would help his father to prepare himself and wait for his father to be done. And this is where we leave it off. We end with Luke waiting for his father, who has now returned back to Anakin to be completely healed. The rebels will be somewhere in the galaxy thinking they lost terribly, and Leia would be filled in dread that Luke hasn't returned yet. And she also wouldn't know that Luke is her brother. And the rebels on Endor would be all dead. And Boba Fett would still be alive. And rip Captain Rex, because he's dead too. There's no way he's surviving that. Too much for him. And that's where we end. I know it's kind of a cliffhanger, but this is where the end of the Return of the Jedi is. And I don't want to go any further than that movie. I was actually surprised with the way the story turned out, with Boba not dying like a punk. And, I really like this story. I went somewhere I didn't think. If you guys would want the story to continue, then you could leave a comment saying, so, the one person who cares. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.